Hello and welcome back. As the UK winds down its operations in Iraq, there's a growing concern for the safety of Iraqis who worked for the British Army in Basra, in particular the Iraqi interpreters who were seen as traitors by militia groups opposed to the British occupation. They've been warned to leave or to be killed. The British government announced a resettlement scheme a year ago, but since then, only a handful of Iraqis have been granted visas, leaving hundreds rejected, left in Iraq in fear of their lives.
A firm of London lawyers, Lee Day, has volunteered to fight for those rejected by the British resettlement scheme, arguing that the 12-month cut-off was arbitrary and unfair.
So how many people have we got on our books at the moment? Do we have any idea about numbers in Iraq itself? No. It's difficult, isn't it? Because it's just who contacts us. More and more every day.
Jamie Begent was shocked by the cynicism the lawyers uncovered when they obtained government documents on the scheme under the Freedom of Information Act.
Cases where people have passed.
There were lines in the internal memorandums flying between the departments about we need to be seen to be doing enough to appear caring and compassionate and enough to be reacting to the moral obligations that the press say we have towards these people. But we don't want to anger another part of the press who wouldn't like to see lots of people coming to this country.
This is one of the documents. It talks about a scheme generous enough to respond to moral and reputational questions, but still within the bounds of affordability. Jamie is taking a case to the English High Court to try to force the government to relax the criteria and help Karim, Ali, Haider and many others in danger. Meanwhile, his colleague Sapna Malik is pressing for compensation for Suhad. Like other widows and families of murdered interpreters, the resettlement scheme offers her nothing.
We feel that this case is very significant, not only in respect of Suhad and Sami, but also in respect of many other interpreters who are contacting us, who are in hiding. It does really set a benchmark to try and establish what was the duty of care and the extent of the duty of care owed by the British Army to its employees on the ground.
Sapna has sent a compensation claim to the Ministry of Defence and warned she may take the case to the High Court. In Bolton, Ahmed is starting to look for a job. The reality of life as a refugee is beginning to sink in.
Yeah, I need the furniture first and the TV. And I have to get a license for the TV license, then to get the TV, in addition to the washing machine. But the television there is so expensive. I'm not thinking to return to Iraq. Because I got enough. I saw enough of killing people, torturing people. My friend's dead, so I have no choice to return back. I'm staying here forever.
It's Jamie's day in the High Court. The futures of Karim, Ali, Haider and many others are on the line. In Kuwait, Suhad hears from Sapna that the Ministry of Defence has finally replied to her claim.
Hi, Suhad, it's Sapna here from Lee Day in London.
We're awaiting a response from the Ministry of Defence
to the letter of claim that we had sent them. They've received a response from them. They're
basically saying that they have not yet completed their investigations, that several government departments are now involved, and that they want more time.
They want another 6 months.
And this is their the final answer about this thing?
We're still at the start of this fight.
My feeling is that they're taking too long really to respond or give us any details really about the circumstances of Sami's death.
Or what was done before his death to protect his security, and that we now are at a stage where we could issue proceedings and start the court case.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate all what you did for me.
Take care.
Okay.
Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay.
At the High Court, a judge has dashed the hopes of those left behind.
Well, it's very disappointing. He found against our arguments that it was irrational to have hard-edged criteria such as the 12-month cut-off for length of service before you're eligible for the scheme. And he said that the government were entitled to set up firm criteria, inflexible criteria, because of the other factors they had to take into account.
The Iraqi interpreters and their families are victims of political convenience. Britain needs to be able to say that its troops leave Basra with their heads held high.
I think core of the problem has been that British government's lack of acknowledgement has come about because it doesn't really fit with "we're doing a great job and everyone's happy."
The British government denies that it's treating the interpreters unfairly. In response to this film, a spokesman said it was impractical for us to help them all, so the government devised a fair and honourable scheme. Staff had been offered a financial package instead of visas, and 50% of those eligible had taken it up.
Thank you very much.
Tom Porteous and the lawyers haven't given up their struggle.
We're working with what they've got at the moment, and we're trying to, quietly pressure the British government to accept more people onto the scheme, even though they don't necessarily fulfil all these arbitrary and restrictive criteria. Most people recognise that the British people and the British government owe the Iraqi interpreters who've worked for the British forces, they owe them something, including the possibility to settle in the UK because of the risk that they face as a result of their work in Iraq.
But the eyes of the British media have moved on, to Israel's war on Gaza, to Barack Obama's new era in America, to economic crisis at home. In Damascus, Haider struggles on.
كان حلمي انه انتقل من حياة الى حياة اخرى، مش لإلي حابب يعني اساعد اولادي.
Suhad and her children wait in Kuwait.
I want the British troops that they know what kind of sacrifice all the interpreters, not my husband only, what they did for them. This is the important thing.
Kareem is left driving his taxi through the shadows, waiting for a bullet.
أنا أحب أقول في شيء واحد للجيش البريطاني أنه يوم اللي هم كانوا دا يتعرضون للهجمات احنا اللي كنا دا نساعدهم بصد أغلب هاي الهجمات. فأعتقد أنه اليوم صار لازم يردون هذا الدين لأن احنا دا نتعرض للهجمات اليوم. وكنت واحد منهم بحلوهم وامورهم. امتلكت هالشكل اعتقد هذا يعني شغله جدا صعبه انك تنكسر.
Even for the lucky ones, the future is uncertain. Ahmad's fate is as good as it gets for Iraqis who sacrificed everything for the British Army in Basra.
I didn't think that my life will be like this. To be away from your family, your friends, and your town. Everything is different now from the past. Now we got a new life and we have to start over again. Yeah, I need a time, of course, to get the job, suitable job for me to live and get a better life, better than the past, and yeah, just to build a new life. This is it.
It's raining.
And lawyers are continuing to try and help individuals who've been rejected from the scheme. As for Suhad, the widow suing for compensation, the Ministry of Defence has until the end of January to respond. We'll keep you updated. That's it for this edition of People and Power. If you have any thoughts on our show, we'd love to hear from you on the usual address, aljazeera.net/English. That's it from me, and until next time, goodbye.